Today I want to share with you a book that I had really hoped would be our next read aloud, but we just don't have time for it. So I'm really disappointed about that because this was one of the books that I read with my fifth grade class. I can still remember we each had our own copies. The story is called Out of the Dust. It is a book that meant so much to me as a student that my parents bought it for me, and it is actually one of the very few books that I have kept from my childhood.
It did.
So Out of the Dust is a story written in poem form, in verse form, about Billy Joel's life. And we're going to get into talking about the Dust Bowl and how poor decisions made by farmers and also the unintended consequences of the Industrial Revolution come together to create this travesty that happens out west to farmers throughout our country. And so that's this really eye-opening book about the hardship of those living out west during the Great Depression. A terrible accident has transformed Billy Joel's life, scarring her inside and out. Her mother is gone, her father can't talk about it, and the one thing that might make her feel better, playing the piano, is impossible with her wounded hands. To make matters worse, dust storms are devastating the family farm and all the farms nearby. While others flee from the Dust Bowl, Billy Joel is left to find peace in the bleak landscape of Oklahoma and in the surprising landscape of her own heart. So right off the bat, you hear that there is a problem and that something occurs that wounds her hands. And I will say that scene that lends itself to developing the conflict within the plot, or at least one of the conflicts of the plot, is that scene where she wounds her hands, and it's one of those scenes that just lives rent free in my head, to this day. Out of the Dust. Beginning, August 1920. As summer wheat came ripe, so did I. Born at home on the kitchen floor, Ma crouched barefoot over the swept boards because that's where Dad said it'd be best. I came too fast for the doctor, bawling as soon as Daddy wiped his hand around inside my mouth. To hear Ma tell it, I hollered myself red the day I was born. Red's the color I've stayed ever since. Daddy named me Billy Joe. He wanted a boy. Instead, he got a long-legged girl with a wide mouth and cheekbones like a bicycle handle, and like bicycle handles. He got a red-headed, freckle-faced, narrow-hipped girl with a fondness for apples and a hunger for playing fierce piano. From the earliest I can remember, I've been restless in this little panhandled shack we call home, always getting in Ma's way, with my pointy elbows, my fidgeting legs. By the summer I turned 9, Daddy had given up about having a boy. He tried making me do. I look just like him. I can handle myself most everywhere he puts me, even on the tractor, though I don't like that much. Ma tried having other babies. It never seemed to go right, except with me. But this morning, Ma let on as how she'd expectin' again. Other than the 3 of us, there's not much family to speak of. Daddy, the only boy Kelby left since Grandpa died from a cancer that ate up most of his skin, and Aunt Alice, almost 14 years older than Daddy, and living in Lubbock, away south of here, and a whole world apart. To hear Daddy tell it, and Ma, with only great Uncle Floyd, old as ancient Indian bones, and mean as a rattler, rotting away in that room down in Dallas. I'll be nearly 14, just like Aunt Alice when Daddy was born, by the time this baby comes. Wonder if Daddy will get that boy this time. January 1934. Rabbit battles. Mr. Noble and Mr. Romney have a bet going as to who can kill the most rabbits. It all started at the rabbit drive last Monday over to Sturgis when Mr. Noble got himself worked up about the damage done to his crop by jacks. Mr. Romney swore he had more rabbit trouble than anyone in Cimarron County. They pledged revenge on the rabbit population, wagering who could kill more. They ought to just shut up betting on how many rabbits they can kill. Honestly, grown men clubbing bunnies to death makes me sick to my stomach. I know rabbits eat what they shouldn't, especially this time of year when they could hop halfway to Liberal and still not find food. But Miss Freeland says if we keep plowing under this stuff, they ought to be eaten. What are they supposed to do? Mr. Noble and Mr. Romney came home from Sturgis Monday with 20 rabbits apiece, a tie. It should have stopped there, but Mr. Romney wasn't satisfied. He said Noble cheated. He bought in rabbits somebody else killed, and so the contest goes on. Those men, they used to be best friends. Now they can't be civil to each other. They scowl as they pass down the street. I'm scowling too, but scowling won't bring the rabbits back. They're all skinned and cooked and eaten by now. At least they didn't end up in Romney and Noble's cook pots. They went to families that needed the meat. So again, if you are really interested in learning more about the impact of the Great Depression out west and the horrific dust bowls and how families were really teetering on the abyss, then you should check this out. It's a very quick read. It's very short, despite how many pages it has, because it is in poem form. But I cannot recommend this book enough. I hope you pick it.